Brahma by Ralph Waldo Emerson. If the red slayer thinks he slays, or if the slain think he is slain, they do not know well the subtle ways I keep, and pass and turn again. Far or forgot to me is near. Shadow and sunlight are the same. The vanished gods to me appear, and one to me are shame and fame. They reckon ill who leave me out. When me they fly, I am the wings. I am the doubter and the doubt. I am the hymn the Brahman sings. The strong gods pine for my abode, and pine in vain the sacred seven. But thou, meek lover of the good, find me and turn thy back on heaven. I selected this poem by Emerson to discuss for three reasons. Let's take them in turn. One is the introduction of a form of pantheism, perhaps better described here as panentheism. Pantheism is the idea that everything is God. Panentheism says that God is in everything. And the distinction there may be hard to see, so let's take a moment. Pantheism literally means everything is God. Everything that you see, every manifestation of anything in the world is simply God in some mode or another. This is most clearly explained in Spinoza. I mean, you can reason it for yourself if you want. At the beginning, there's nothing but God. Anything God makes, therefore, has to be made of God. So it's all God. Nothing comes from nothing, so it all has to come from God. Everything is God. Now, panentheism says, no. There is the divine, and then there is the not divine. One is tempted to say anti-divine, but let's not. There is the divine, there is the secular, the non-divine. The divine is present in the secular things, but it is not identical to those secular things. When we salute, namaste, I salute the God within you, we're not saluting your material grossness, we're saluting the God within you. That then is what we're talking about here. The idea that while there can still be two sorts of things in the world, God can be in everything. So when he says these things happen, and they think they happen in a totally non-contradictory way, well, what's happening here is what we would refer in Western logic as a paradox. If the slayer thinks he slays, the slain thinks he's slain, they don't know what they're talking about. How can that be? Well, I mean, the dead is dead, but it's still not true. He says, I keep these subtle ways, and then I pass, and I turn again. Things recycle. Things come around. Death is not death. Life is not life. Sunshine and shadow are the same. How can that be? Negations, shadow is where there is no sunshine. How can they be the same thing? Well, one of the teachings in traditional Buddhist logic is S is P, so this thing has a quality. Subject has a predicate. S is not P. This is a subject. It doesn't have this predicate. S is and is not P. Now that violates the Aristotelian rule, the law of excluded middle. We're supposed to be able to say either S or not S. P or not P. And in this case, the Buddhist says P and not P. It's an entirely different approach to logic and an entirely different approach to the world. The alienness of this thought. Oh, by the way, before I go any further, it is also the case that S is neither P nor not P. So it is just very, very different. And one of the things I want you to look at as you look at philosophy is realize that any attempt you make to harmonize another thinker to your particular position is wrong. I once read a text that argued that Nietzsche was a closet Catholic. Nietzsche was not a closet Catholic, I can tell you right now. He might have been a closet Lutheran, but he was definitely not a closet Catholic. We want to take people who appeal to us and make them think like we do. Don't. Be aware that there are alien points of view in the world that you just simply don't take to. Don't try to squeeze them into your point of view. So that's another reason for putting this here. The last thing I wanted to talk about was the idea of turning your back on heaven. I talk about this also when we look at the to be or not to be speech from Shakespeare, also on this website. In that, what worries Hamlet is not going to hell, not even going to heaven. Both of those things he turns his back on. He wants nothing to do with either of them. What he wants to do is when he dies, go to sleep. In Plato's Apology, when Socrates is sentenced to death, he says this isn't all that bad a sentence. As far as he can tell, there's only two possible outcomes. One, he prefers, but the other he has no problem with. He would prefer the good night's sleep, turning your back on heaven. The goal is to escape the wheel of samsara, to achieve nirvana, release from the wheel. Heaven is not everybody's favorite place. It isn't for Hamlet. It wasn't for Socrates. It's not for the Brahma. Emerson, I would go too far to conclude that. But what I hope you carry away from this is this idea of panentheism, of a logic that is not our logic, and of goals in life that are not our goals in life. Philosophy is not predictable. Philosophy is not always friendly. Okay? Keep talking philosophy.